We all paid a lot of money for our digital single lens reflex or other interchangeable lens camera bodies, so dust on an image can be a disappointment. Sensor dust, unlike lens dust, necessarily leads to image quality loss, unsightly image spots, and added work in post. So here's a process for dry cleaning your DSLR sensor. For this procedure, you'll need this equipment: a fully charged battery, a rocket-type air blower, a static brush, lint-free cleaning swabs, preferably single-use, cotton swabs, new powder-free latex or nitrile gloves. Here is some optional equipment: a lighted loupe, or a loupe and a flashlight, or just a small flashlight. Also, you'll want to avoid these items: compressed air dusters, vacuums, rubbing alcohol, WD-40 acetone, or other liquids and solvents, a dusty or dirty environment. Not all cameras have a dust removal function built into them. If your camera does have an ultrasonic dust removal feature, make sure to turn it on, and if the option exists to make it a startup feature, you should do that too. Begin the sensor cleaning process by taking a dust reference photo. The reference photo will help you target dust if needed and help you to determine when your sensor is clean after you've cleaned it. If you have a pinhole lens, use that. In this video's description, there is a link to a video which demonstrates how to make a quick and inexpensive pinhole lens. If you don't have a pinhole lens, that's okay. Simply use a normal or slightly wide lens, a 50mm to 28mm in full frame or 35mm terms. Stop down to f/22. Your reference photo should be a clean wall, free of decorations, or a cloudless daytime sky. The second video, linked in the description of this video, shows you how to determine if your sensor has dust using a pinhole lens and a light bulb. The first step in cleaning your camera's sensor will be cleaning the reflex mirror and focusing screen. Using a dry cotton swab, gently touch the tip of the swab to visible dirt on the mirror and focusing screen. This will help make the image in the viewfinder clearer and remove distractions caused by large dust particles. To clean your DSLR's image sensor, you'll first need a fully charged battery, or your DSLR will not allow you to use the mirror lockup MLU feature for sensor cleaning. With your fresh battery inserted, find the sensor cleaning item on your menu. The location of this menu item will be different for each camera model. Lock the mirror up. With the mirror up, the first step is to hold your DSLR with the sensor facing the ground. Using your rocket blower, blow air into the sensor housing. First, blast the rocket blower into space a few times to remove any dust that may have settled in the nozzle. Then blow air onto the sensor. At this point, you can turn your camera off. Most cameras have to be turned off to end sensor cleaning MLU. Make sure that none of the equipment, such as your rocket blower, is in the mirror box when the camera is turned off, because the mirror will snap back into its resting position. Take another reference photo. Compare the photo to the original and see if dust remains in the image. If so, you will need to proceed to the next step. If not, then you've cleaned your sensor easily and can go back to taking photos. If you have the lighted loupe or a loupe and a flashlight, those can help you identify dust locations. Remember that as you clean the image sensor, the image you are seeing from it is upside down and reversed. So if dust is on the upper right corner of your image, then it's actually on the lower left of the sensor. After reactivating your camera's MLU, start the next step by using your electrostatic brush. Use the rocket blower to blow air through it and charge it with static. This also helps remove any dust that was stuck in the brush after the previous sensor cleaning. Lightly run the brush's tip over the sensor, the idea here being that static will attract the dust. Forcible contact can risk the brush ferrule contacting and scratching the sensor, or a brush hair becoming caught in part of the sensor or shutter mechanism. Taking another reference photo after this is recommended but optional. Using a lint-free cleaning swab, you'll want to clean the sensor. Pass the swab over the sensor once in each direction, left to right, over the whole sensor followed by up and down. Avoid contacting the edges of the sensor housing, as this can cause oils to be taken up by the cleaning swab and transferred onto your sensor. At this point, remove your tools from the shutter box and turn off your camera. Take another reference photo. If the photo looks good to you, then you're done. If the photo still shows an unacceptable number of dust spots, then repeat the process beginning with either the air blower or the static brush. To make sure that you have the best sensor cleaning experience you can, avoid using compressed air or canned air in lieu of the rocket-type blower. The canned air is actually tetrafluorocycline or a similar compound and can spray frost from the can. This will almost certainly damage your sensor. Even without frost, the velocity of gases escaping from canned air can damage your sensor. Also, avoid using a vacuum, even the small ones suited for cleaning keyboards. Those can cause the sensor to move in ways it should not, or move beyond the tolerances of the internal shake reduction system, if your camera has an internal system. Also avoid sticking your fingers into the shutter box or directly touching the sensor. Removing finger grease from the sensor is a difficult proposition. Another thing to be sure of is that you don't accidentally bump the off switch while cleaning the sensor. That will cause the shutter to close and the reflex mirror to snap back into place, which can cause significant damage to your camera.